Hey everyone, welcome back. So, as some of you may know, I'm an international student in the US. I am Persian originally. Uh, and there is something that I want to talk about. It's the struggle of being an international student. And it's not like the financial struggle or, life is difficult. No, no. It's how it's how isolating it can be spiritually to be an international student. Like at first when you come, let's say, to the US or you go to Europe or you go abroad, when you leave home, at first it's like great. It's the honeymoon phase. You go to meet new friends, make, all sorts of experiences and stuff like that. So at the beginning it's fun. But then eventually what will happen is that you will realize that you will never be American. You will realize that. I mean, the fact that I have an accent indicates this. So this land will never be my land. This home will never be my home. But the home that I have at home, back home, that kind of has stopped being my home either. Because now I've become, let's say, if you live in America for so long, then you become so immersed in this American culture that in some sense you feel like you don't belong in the culture of your home country anymore. So you kind of get stuck in this middle zone where you neither belong here nor there. And it's pretty bad. I don't know how many people can relate to this, but it's really bad. I mean, it's not a torture, but it is very isolating. It really is isolating. And maybe that's why whenever I see immigrants, I kind of feel sad. So like recently, because I live in Oklahoma, so recently there was a large influx of the Afghan immigrants who came here. And the other day I was in front of library and I was just witnessing an Afghan family. Like it was a mother with the hijab and then she was carrying one of her kids, and I don't know, that kind of made me sad. Maybe I'm projecting my own sadness onto her, but that kind of made me sad that, a woman at that age has to leave her home country and come to this foreign land. And yeah, America is good for many things, but, I feel like if you've lived in one country for 40, 45 years, I feel like after that immigration will be difficult. Because then you're so immersed in your own culture that, when she comes here, then life in America is very isolating. It really is. Because like neighbors don't really talk to each other. Everyone just goes to work. They come back from work, they eat, and then they sleep, they wake up, they go to work. So Americans are just... Society here is not as social as it is, let's say, in Afghanistan or in other parts of the world. And so it kind of made me sad when I saw that, she came here probably by force because she was escaping, the new regime or whatever. That she will forever be in this zone where she doesn't really belong here, but she doesn't belong in her home country either. So like it's a middle ground. And you're kind of always stuck there. And it's something that I feel like every international student or every immigrant kind of goes through if they've lived abroad for long enough. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to make you depressed and you'll be depressed 24/7. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that this feeling of isolation will be there. Under the radar of your consciousness, it will always be roaming around, reminding you that you neither belong here nor there. Right? And so, how do you deal with it? I don't know. I don't know how you deal with this. I mean, people sort of marry and they make families, they make friends, but all of this is really an attempt to escape this isolation. It doesn't eliminate the isolation. It doesn't kill the isolation. It cannot be eliminated. You can maybe distract yourself with things, But at the end of the day, there's this feeling that you don't really belong anywhere. It'll be there, and it won't go away. So if you're an international student, or if you're a student who's about to be an international student, I don't want to discourage you, but you should keep in mind that if you live abroad for long enough, if you're an immigrant for long enough, there is a certain part of you that you will lose. There's many parts you will gain, but there's a certain part of you that you will lose. This cultural aspect. The foot that you had in your home country, that foot will be off the ground. Parts of your roots will be cut, so you will always be in the air, so to speak. And there are some people I've met, like there are some girls I've met who come from, conservative families from Pakistan or from these Muslim countries. And they're all very happy that they moved here because they got this new freedom. They love that they can date freely and whatever. And maybe for them it's different. Maybe they hated their own culture so much that it's freeing for them to be part of this new culture, so to speak. I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be one of them. I never felt like that. So I don't know. I can't make any comments about that. But with me, I never really had anything. I mean, there are certain parts of my culture that I don't like. But this feeling of belonging is what I'm talking about. This feeling of belonging. When I was living at home, I felt like I belonged to a culture, to a society, to a certain group of people. But when you travel abroad for long periods of time, if you've been living abroad by yourself for many, many years, this feeling of belonging will actually disappear. You will feel like you actually don't belong anywhere. So it's it's the cost you have to pay for traveling abroad. But I mean, it's needed though, because if you're somebody who wants to fly high, your feet cannot always be stuck on the ground. At some point your feet have to be off the ground. And that's all I'm saying here, is that if you travel abroad and you live abroad for long periods of time, you will mature very fast, you will grow very fast, but it comes at the price that your feet will be off the ground. And sometimes you will feel it, right? Sometimes you want to go back and live with your parents, your friends are still at home, everybody's at home, your family, your brothers, you belong. Sometimes you want to go back there, but then you have to remind yourself that those moments are no longer there, and that you already flew high, that you're already up in the air. And once you're up in the air, if you go down, it won't be the same anymore. So now you just have to live with whatever the hell you got going on here. But it's good. It's good. Flying high in the air requires that your feet be off the ground. And so if it's your goal to fly, then don't complain that your feet are off the ground. And I'm not really complaining, but what I'm saying is that immigrating to a foreign country and living there for long periods of time, it comes with a cost. And the cost is that at some point, you will stop feeling like you belong anywhere. So the food that you will eat here won't really taste like food. The people that you will talk to won't really feel like people. I mean, there are people, but like, you know how in America everyone always has that fake smile. So it's like, I come from a post-Soviet country. Nobody smiles over there. Everybody has just this raw, depressing face. So sometimes I feel like people here are not real, because they're always smiling, they're always kind. Because how can you be always smiling and kind as a human being? Sometimes I like it when someone just curses at me or gets angry at me, because then I'm like, okay, I know this guy's real. Right? So this culture here is so different, right? Everybody's nice, everybody's always kind. It almost feels like you're not talking to real people, that everyone has a mask and you're always talking to the persona, to the mask, that people don't really show who they are. And the food is different, culture is different, so you can feel isolated. Maybe you can integrate into the culture. I never could. I never could. So this feeling of not belonging, this feeling of isolation, it is the price that you have to pay for all the things that you will get when you travel to a foreign country, when you become an international student in a foreign country. It comes with a price. And what you do with that, I don't know. I have to learn how to deal with it at some point. All right, bye.